Hi everyone. So I just finished another webinar, and today we were looking at Paws at Work, how dog-friendly culture boosts employee well-being. So here in Canada, we don't just have service dogs. We have that, I know, in South Africa and Zimbabwe. We have them for people who are blind or who have a disability. We've always had them on our campuses in Africa. But over here, people view their pets as part of the family like us, and some companies allow them to bring their pets to work. So companies have to think about developing policies around that. Which animals are you going to allow into the workplace? Because when you talk about your pet being your family, are you going to allow snakes and birds? And, where does it end? Is it only dogs? Because here in Canada, a lot of places do have days where, like, they'll say, bring your children to work. They'll have bring your pet to work. And it's important to think about what are people's phobias around that. How is it going to impact other people? What policies do you have in place? What laws are in place around that? And to make sure that the animals cannot escape. So some companies, they have very extravagant places like Amazon. They'll have a room for the dogs, they'll have beds, they'll have toys, they'll have all kinds of things. We don't even get that for humans, but they do it for dogs here, which is interesting. And they also were saying that some companies are allowing people to use paternal care and maternal care leave when they adopt a new pet, to integrate that pet into their household. They're allowing them time to go home to check on the pets, and they're also having like hybrid days. Because over here, it's not like Africa. Not everybody has a nice bungalow like we had to live in. It's a lot of apartment living, a lot of small spaces. So it's hard on the animals. That's one of the reasons that I don't like having pets here. If I had a nice big house with a yard, then yeah, it's different. But I don't like having, especially dogs and cats. It's not really fair to them to keep them inside, I think, the whole day. But people do have them. They have them in their condominiums, in their apartments. So today we just focused on that, and also looking at how during COVID that also affected the animals. A lot of veterinary places, and like we have SPCA in Zimbabwe, they gave the dogs and cats away, so people adopted them, and how animals were used as part of work. So like we use horses, dogs were also used. They were used to carry sleighs, they were used for different things on farms. They were used for hunting. In England, they still do that. In Alaska, they still have sleigh dogs. So dogs are not just pets. They're also part of workplaces. They're used in airports to detect drugs. They're used to keep runways free of birds at the airports. There's a lot of things that we use our dogs for. But it was just interesting to see how things have changed, and what policies they're bringing in. And also, if a dog escapes and somebody gets hurt or bitten or something like that, in America, they were saying that under case law, the onus is on the owner. So if somebody will bring a case against them, they'll have to pay the damages and the health care and all of that against that person, if it's something that happens in a workplace. So it's good to know these things. My opinion is neither here nor there on that, but I think that's fair, because if it's our dog and the dog escapes in the workplace and somebody gets hurt, then we brought that dog to work. So I think it's fair. But in case law is always changing. Tomorrow another case might come out and say, no, it's not fair. The company agreed that you could bring the dog onto the site, and so it's the company's responsibility. So companies do need to think about that as well. and to think about people's phobias. Some people are afraid of dogs, some people are afraid of cats, some people are afraid of, other pets. Not everybody has the same phobias. So it's good for us as HR professionals to learn and to think about it. And for my friends who are watching this, it's good for you to think about it as well. If you're working in HR or another space, or maybe you're working with children like I did at the church, it's a good thing to think about that, because some children are born with disabilities, hearing impairments or sight impairments, and they need that support. So I first encountered the service animals when I was at Wits, because we had some blind students that lived with us at Sunnyside at Wits on the campus. So I used to help them, and they didn't have service animals. They just used their canes and they got around. But it's good to think about it, because things are always changing. So if you're in South Africa and you're watching this, it's something maybe you could take into your workplace and think about. I'm just sharing what I'm learning, because it also helps me. I take notes either during the session or after it, even though they give us the presentation, because it's a way for me to see, okay, what did I learn? How effectively was I listening? And what did I gain from that? So I thought I'd share that. And it's a good thing to think about. I mean, I like dogs, but some people's dogs are cheeky. Other people's dogs they're temperamental. You see them today and they come bounding up to greet you and they're friendly. And then you see them tomorrow and they're snapping at you. So, it's important to think about how do we also handle ourselves around people's pets, around people's animals, because it's important. It's important to know. And people have all kinds of pets in this world. Things that we wouldn't consider keeping as pets, other people say are pets. Some people have lions, and some people adopt reptiles. Some people adopt all kinds of things that we would never imagine having in our homes. Alligators, cheetahs. I mean, for those of us who grew up in Africa, we would never have those kinds of animals in our homes as pets. So it's good to think about, because for us, we know those are dangerous animals. They're wild animals. They can turn on you at any time. So I just thought I'd share that. The presentation is over now. So now I can relax. Now my day is done. I can go and watch TV or, do something else. But this is how my days go when I'm at home. I don't just sit at home and do nothing. I make sure I'm keeping active. I'm learning. I'm engaging my brain. I go out for walks. And that's how I stay healthy. That's how I do it. Because otherwise I'll go insane. Working at home since COVID, you must be kidding. It's nice to go out, see people, do something. Otherwise, there's no life. What kind of life is it, just staying at home the whole day? Nobody would like it. No one. No, definitely not me.